Big City Greens, one of Disney Channel's most popular shows to this date. This show was a part of my late childhood. I vividly remember seeing new episodes of the show in late 2018 when they were airing on Disney Channel during the time the show was at season 1. As a 9-year-old at the time, this show was very worth it to me, and it was so much hype when I was anticipated to watch the episodes of the show. But I would be watching more episodes of the show throughout late 2019 and the whole of 2020, especially with season 2 being out at that time, and I became a fan of the show from there. I really enjoyed the show. It was so fun to me. I watched even more episodes of the show throughout 2022 and in late 2024, and I got invested throughout the show even more of the show's characters and its adventurous themes. Like, this show holds place as one of my hyperfixations for this summer, as during this summer I have been watching even more episodes of the show that I haven't watched before, especially the 3rd season and 4th season that I have barely watched. And from what I have seen, the show is still consistent with its quality even after 7 years of its run. And with this show being a part of my hyperfixations of this summer, with me being the most attached to the show ever since a few years ago, my interest in Big City Greens has been steady over the years, though my last intense hyperfixation of the show was in 2022, and now I have become hyperfixated on it again after 3 years, which is what drove me into making this video. The show centers around a family of 4 as they settle into the big city after moving from their farm, and they manage to get used to the city as it comes with Cricket Green and Tilly making new friends, and the family having some fun adventures along the way as they settle into the city. This show is pretty good. It has so much of its funny moments, it has wholesome characters that build in emotional depth to the show, it has so many innovative ideas in terms of the premises of the episodes of the show, and it has very fascinating acts, especially the Chip arcs in the show as he takes place as the main villain, with his ambition and is to get revenge on the greens after they get his tooth chipped. These types of episodes build higher stakes with its serialized plot, making way for more intriguing storylines in the show, which makes it more entertaining to watch. It's a shame that the show doesn't get that much attention. Like, honestly, this show is one of the most underrated Disney Channel shows that is still running to this day. Sure, the show is successful since it's one of the most viewed Disney Channel shows on Disney Plus outside of Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls. The show doesn't seem to have enough fans to the point where it barely has any cultural relevance compared to these two shows, and heck, even Kim Possible, which was the most popular Disney Channel show in the 2000s before Phineas and Ferb took over the spotlight in 2007 as soon as Kim Possible ended. Despite Big City Greens' very niche popularity that doesn't correlate with how successful the show is in general, it still keeps Disney Channel alive in terms of its relevance, and it makes Disney a good amount of money. To be honest, the show isn't all that popular to older viewers. It's mostly popular with its target audience, kids aged 6 to 11, even though the show isn't really that popular as much as the most popular 3 Disney Channel shows. The show still does pretty well for Disney Channel. But what if I told you that they made a Big City Greens movie, even though the show isn't that popular? Well, that's probably because of the number of views it gets on Disney Plus, and also the data suggests that on YouTube, Big City Greens has nearly 1 billion views on the website alone, which is enough to emphasize on how successful the show is despite it not being popular in terms of recognition from the average viewer of cartoons in general. That all brings me to today's topic. The Big City Greens movie was honestly way better than I expected. The actual show is pretty good at best, but when it comes to the show's movie, it exceeds every expectation for something that comes from Big City Greens. The movie was actually amazing. There's so many aspects that make it incredible. Even with its simple plot, the way it was executed was tremendous as it had a lot to offer in terms of its theatrical energy, emotional depth and sheer creativity. The pacing felt tighter, the humor landed more consistently, and the animation was elevated far beyond the show's usual style. It struck a perfect balance between heartfelt character moments and over-the-top comedic sequences, making the story feel both meaningful and entertaining. When we get to actually discuss the movie itself, as I summarize it in this video and analyze the aspects of the movie that make it amazing, we will talk some more of the things that make the movie of very good quality, a specific detail from the scenes of the movie that we are analyzing, so that you viewers will actually know what I am talking about. I've already made my points on what makes the movie so astounding, but there's a lot to say about this movie that makes it amazing, especially since the movie is made directly for TV, not for theaters, which links to my point about how it exceeds every expectation for the content that will be featured in this movie that is based off one of the most popular Disney Channel shows that is still running in this decade. The movie centers around the Green family as they think of plans on what to do as they are going on vacation. The movie opens with a funny fourth wall break joke of the narrator which caught me off guard, and it also opens with a musical sequence that introduces the premise of the movie. What? You didn't know this movie is a musical? Anyway, the song is a banger. By the end of the song, Bill announces that they are gonna go on the same vacation that they went on last year where the movie is set, and Cricket Green seems to be frustrated about it, so he tries to convince his dad to do something else for the vacation, as he has a range of ideas for the vacation, but his dad rejects them because according to him they are too dangerous. They head to the big tech building and they meet the big tech CEO Gwendolyn Zapp, and she explains the concept of space. This character was introduced to the show in season 2 in the episode titled Car Trouble, and basically the plot of the episode was such a great concept that it made the episode pretty fun, as well as the other episodes of the show that featured her in the show. For example, the episode The Flawless You takes the concept of the Green's family being converted into holograms that are flawless versions of themselves, that is part of Gwendolyn Zapp's project, as it's like a program that is made to get rid of their flaws, and it manages to execute it perfectly. Like how later in the episode, Trudy Green realizes that them being perfect will actually make them boring, so then they decide to change their mind about keeping their flawless selves and replace it with their normal selves as they put them back into their bodies, since them having flaws is what makes them have personality and stand out in each of their own ways, which is what makes them a fun family to hang out with. This concept is really beautifully written, as it gives out a really inspiring message to its audience, which is that there is no human being on earth that is perfect, and you don't have to be perfect to make yourself unique and stand out as a person, as later on you will learn from all of your mistakes and be the person you truly wanted to be. Even if you have flaws, you are still a great person and you really mean a lot to the world, which is a very heartwarming message to us as the audience of the show, which is one thing I loved about the episode. Now, with this character being part of the main plot in the movie, it gives us anticipation for fascinating moments in this movie, as previously she took place as one of the plot devices in the show that is there to make an episode of the show great, which is the case for this movie, which is pretty promising for its quality. Cricket hears about the space simulator that Gwendolyn mentions, which inspires him to convince his dad that they should go ahead and try the space simulator for themselves as a plan for their vacation. This way, Cricket won't have to worry about being bored in his vacation, since it's not the same as their last vacation as a result. But then the announcer of the spaceship reveals that it's actually not a simulation, it's a real spaceship, which gets his start feeling concerned, as if he's regretting to stick with Cricket's plan for their vacation. So it's like, to him, Cricket manipulated him into going to the spaceship, as he didn't plan this for what they are going to be doing for their vacation. This concept is going to be important for the movie later in the story. A random individual wearing a spacesuit pops out of nowhere and saves Bill's life as he's flying into the atmosphere in space, almost as if he's about to die there, and she warns them about exiting the spacecraft without permission, which is against astronaut rules, but she allows it anyway since they have not been introduced to these rules yet in the movie. She introduced herself, her name being Colleen Void. Her role is to guide them on their big tech mission in space. When Bill finds out that they are actually in space, he starts freaking out. He receives a call from Gwendolyn, and she thanks the Greens for participating on the life-saving mission. However, Bill was not content with this, as he didn't plan for this to be part of their family vacation. It's just that Cricket tricked him into thinking that this will be a vacation that he didn't consider as dangerous, so he advises Gwendolyn to bring them back home from space. But in order for that to happen, he has to pay her $2 billion, which is impossible for him. Unfortunate for him, they have to do their space mission. As a result, despite him not planning this to be a plan for their vacation. Meanwhile, Nancy Green discusses with Gloria about the Green's vacation, and she wants to ensure that they are safe, but she sees them in space on the news, implying to her that it looks like they are going to be in an unsafe environment, which freaks out both of them. So Nancy plans to track them in space so she can find a way to save them in case if they are in any danger. Cricket wants his dad to take them to a hotel in space, but his dad doesn't allow that, as his plan is for them to arrive home after the vacation. Cricket thinks that the mission is going to be safe, so he assumes that they are gonna have fun there in space. But Colleen Void tells him it's dangerous, and before he even thinks about having fun, she explains to the Green family the rules of the space mission in the form of a song. The execution of this song is pretty great, as it comes with cool visuals, nicely written lyrics, which all makes the song a banger. Colleen Void ventures out of the lab to take care of Bill because he becomes nauseous, so she warns the rest of the Greens to not mess with any of the stuff that is there so that they don't put themselves in danger. However, that doesn't stop them, so Cricket starts opening a vault while Steady opens up Experiment 84, which is a blob-like creature that she thinks is adorable to her. Cricket starts messing with some items that he finds, and then Colleen finds out about it, leaving her pissed off at her. She leaves again, and then once he finds her in her room and tells her that Grandma is breaking Rule 320, which is something that is deadly, only for it to be revealed that it is a gaslighting trick to trap Colleen into a lab tube or whatever it's called. Meanwhile, Nancy enters inside Big Tech and asks Gwendolyn if they are safe to see if they are in any danger or not, and she says otherwise. Nancy still isn't convinced if they are safe, and she tries to command Gwendolyn to escort them out of space, but then she grabs her with one of her inventive material to take her back from where she was before.
Big City Greens will be right back.
This is the best!
On Disney Channel. Big City Greens is back.
Bingo, bango!
On Disney Channel.
In the next scene, Cricket sings a song to his dad that is about him trying to convince him that space is actually fun even with its dangers. But then once he finishes his song, they discover that there is an asteroid full of trash, so they make their way out of the space atmosphere, and they head back to the spaceship so that they can be safe. Cricket tempts his dad into riding the spaceship and they manage to make their way out of the asteroid alive. No, it's not the asteroid, it's the trastoid or whatever they call it in the movie. You fucking idiot. They see the space hotel on their right and they are delighted by what the space has to offer with its fun activities, its food, etc. They receive a call from Remy and they are surprised that they are seeing him from the view in a spacecraft or whatever that space vehicle is called. Anyway, he's gonna be important for the plot of the movie later. Bill is finally convinced about space being fun, so he agrees to Cricket's plan for them to head to the space hotel after they finish their mission. Meanwhile, Nancy wants to find a way to enter inside the big tech building, but now they have blocked access from the entrance to it, so she asks Gloria to help her find a way to break in. However, the machine that is in the entrance scans her, so some other machines try to grab her out of the place, but Nancy manages to destroy these machines by pouring the coffee that Gloria gave her all over them so that she doesn't get detected again, in which that is pretty slay in my opinion.
Hey, what's up? I'm here to slay.
The workers discovered that there was a typo in the programming of the farm bots, which implies that they are going for harm, which ain't a good sign for the Greens in space. Nancy seems to be suspicious of Gwendolyn about this. The Greens enter inside some random place where they discover an entrance to a hidden room where they can farm. As they are farming, a random machine lurks behind them, which seems to be a farm bot that has been adapted to a function that gives them the ability to create harm to the Greens family from that typo accident in the programming. We obviously know that this is gonna be important for the plot in the next scene of the movie. Throughout this part of the movie, they try to find a way to escape from these bots by trying to launch the rocket away from the rock that they are in where the bots are. Then Cricket starts messing with the buttons, which puts them into more danger. But Conan Void squeezes out of her eyes that she manages to break her trap out of. Then she gets pissed off at the Greens for not listening to what she told her about not following her rules, which led to them being into this mess. Then they start admitting to their wrongdoings. Bill starts getting pissed off at Cricket again since he was the one who got them in space in the first place. This dynamic will be important later in the movie.
Big City Greens will be right back
This is the best!
on Disney Channel. Big City Greens is back
Bingo bango!
on Disney Channel.
In the next part of the movie, the farm bots are trying to break into the ship, in which the Greens and Conan herself can't do anything about it until Conan receives a call from Gwendolyn. She tells Conan that there is an escape pod, which she sends some crops into it as part of protecting the Greens, as it is vital for them to continue the mission. Meanwhile, Nancy is angry at Gwendolyn since she is not allowing the Greens to return to Earth, and is wondering why she doesn't value her life over some crops. Then it transitions into a musical sequence which she explains why this is the case, along with some backstory about her problematic past, which adds more depth to her as a character. Aboard the ship, the crew escape into the cargo hold to keep out of sight from the farm bots. While hiding, they learn that a master shut-off switch exits, but is located on the far side of the asteroid. They strap a rocket onto the clouds and set off, running into several close calls along the way. At one point, a huge leap sends them crashing straight into the control station that houses the kill switch. After the wreck, Gwendolyn explains that the impact triggered a chain of explosions across the asteroid's network of stations. Once the final one detonates, the asteroid will be pushed off course and sent hurtling straight towards Big City. To make matters worse, Cricket accidentally severs their communications. The only way to stop the disaster now is for the crew to track down the single critical wire that can end the destructive sequence. This is what Conan is going to do along with Grandma and Tilly, whilst Bill continues to have his full-blown argument with his son Cricket. In between the argument, Cricket blames his dad for putting them into this situation despite him being the one who dragged the Greens into space in the first place, which is what gets Bill to be pissed off at him from the start, because Cricket manipulated him into having their vacation revolve around a dangerous space mission, which is not what Bill planned for his family. On Earth, it is announced on news that an asteroid is heading towards Earth, which could hint an apocalypse. So then the residents in big cities start panicking and running for their lives, as they are aware that they could be at risk of dying due to this threat. Back at Big Tech, Gwendolyn puts Gloria and Nancy Green to a trap so that they don't do anything that will convince her to contribute to bringing the Greens back to Earth, which starts to drive Nancy Green mad because she isn't allowing them to do anything to stop the asteroid. Once Gwendolyn leaves the room, the coast is now clear for Gloria and Nancy to break out of their trap, and then they try to find the signal to where the Greens are in space, but there is no communication for that, implying that the Greens are at risk of their lives being put in an end. But then she randomly finds a signal for a metallic boot which is connected to Alice's broken leg, that the boot is being used for that, in which she is wearing it at the moment.
Big City Greens will be right back
This is the best!
on Disney Channel. Big City Greens is back
Bingo bango!
on Disney Channel.
The final act of the movie starts with it transitioning into a music number back in space, where Cricket starts to realize that his plan for their vacation, and that was to go on a space mission, that has led to them being put in danger, and now their lives are now at risk along with the whole of Big City, since it has led to an asteroid heading to Earth which could hint an apocalypse that could end the world, and Earth as they know it would be shattered to nothingness. As he is singing this song, he starts to regret all the rude stuff that he said to his father, as he starts to understand why he wanted to have the same plan for vacation that they had as last year, because all of Cricket's plans are dangerous, and Bill is doing all he can to protect his family and keep them safe as a family. Bill starts to sing his own part in the song, where he's upset that whatever he said to him and him not being happy at Cricket for the mess he put them in has led to his song being drove away from him. Tiddy sings a part where she is anxious about them being dead, with all these memories that they cherish together seems to her like nothing, since they are already at risk of dying, according to her. This song was very beautifully written, with its lyrics that encapsulate the feelings that Bill and Cricket have for each other throughout this vacation, that adds character development to these two as characters, as it gives them the time to realize the mistakes that they have made as a family that has torn them apart, the idea that they are family and that they are supposed to get along. But with all the arguments that they have dragged themselves into regarding this vacation has led to them having beef with each other throughout the whole movie, because of how Cricket manipulated Bill of their vacation plan, or at least it was because Bill was easily fooled by Cricket to have this as a vacation plan. But Cricket will still be mad at his dad anyway, and they still be having beef with each other anyway, even if they didn't go to space. So what gives? It's almost as if this movie, it would still have this same concept of this dynamic, even if the plot of the movie was different. Well, the plot of the movie was different, it would probably lead to a 7 out of 10 movie at best. Whatever, I guess I think I'm yapping, okay? What in the shit am I doing? This song really had an emotional impact to me. It almost made me cry when I was watching the movie. There's something about the music in this song that really makes the song an emotional roller coaster, with how melancholic it sounds. This song feels so emotional because it captures both the vulnerability and intensity of the character's journey, blending raw lyrics with a stimulating melody that mirrors their struggles and growth. I love it because it doesn't just stand alone as beautiful music, it directly ties into the film's central theme, amplifying the story's emotional weight. That connection makes its placement feel not only powerful but essential, elevating the entire dynamic of the movie's execution. In the next part of the movie, a random device that shows a signal of his mama, and she basically convinces Cricket to plan to save Big City even though he's not in the mood because he has realized that his ideas are quote-unquote crazy dangerous. But her mom tells her that not all of these plans can be used for dangerous or life-threatening consequences, which motivates Cricket into planning to save Big City. As he enters inside the car, the Greens are in, as well as Colleen Void. Speaking of Colleen Void, she receives a call from Gwendolyn notifying them that she has found a new home on Mars and she can't be bothered on their mission to protect Earth, which makes her feel betrayed. She and the Greens meet Remy and announce him that there is an asteroid heading towards Earth, so that they can be excused to the control room. Some random robots get summoned up and are suspicious of what they seem to be doing. Cricket accidentally says to them that they're breaking in, even though that's not what they're actually doing. They are just trying to target the asteroid and shoot it backwards so that it doesn't crash on Earth, but then the robots start threatening them. Luckily, they manage to make their way into the control room from the threat, and they try to think of a plan to stop the asteroid, but Cricket leads this to himself to contribute to the task.
Big City Greens will be right back
This is the best!
on Disney Channel. Big City Greens is back
Bingo bango!
on Disney Channel.
With Colin's guidance, Cricket switches on the tractor beam, but the asteroid is moving at such high speed that the beam has almost no effect. Cricket apologizes. Man, how many fucking times have I said cricket in this video for the past 30 seconds? It's starting to get off-putting to you guys, and I don't want you guys to go through this shit as we're covering the rest of the movie in this video. Cricket apologizes to Bill and what he has done that caused them to be trapped in this life-threatening situation, realizing that manipulating Bill into having their vacation around the space mission was a bad idea, and he shows remorse for it. Bill accepts his apology. The way Cricket manages to confess to Bill that what he done was a mistake and he regrets doing it and all that stuff is really a stepping stone for his character development in this movie. Like the way they executed the dynamic in that song of the movie that was pretty emotional was actually pretty astounding, and the fact that they are continuing this concept of this dynamic in the movie in the next scenes of the movie in more detail is pretty groundbreaking. It adds a sense of uniqueness to the movie, which makes it even more entertaining to watch, as the way it's balanced with the actual plot of the movie, like the events that happen in the movie, is really beautifully executed. As soon as Colleen starts to brainstorm an idea on how to power up the beam after Cricket has a talk with Bill, the asteroid comes back and puts Cricket in even more danger. Bill thinks of a plan that is inspired by Cricket's dangerous ideas to protect his son, as well as helping him with powering up the tractor beam, which prevents the asteroid from crashing into Earth, saving Big City in the process.
Breaking news! I'm Maria Medea, and Big City is saved!
Hey, I'm alive! Free hot dogs for everybody!
And the world is saved, thanks to Bill and Cricket. Or so they thought, as the asteroid heads back to space, and it cannot be stopped at this rate, even when Colleen tries to stop it. But then Remy helps by using Congo to evacuate all the residents in space back to their escape pods so that they don't get blasted by the asteroid, saving their lives in the process. Ah, what legendary heroes they are. Colleen says her goodbyes to the Greens as they leave space, managing to escape the space hotel before the asteroid blasted into nothingness. There's one funny joke where Cricket mentions the planet Uranus as the Greens think or plans on their next vacation, saying that it is the funniest planet.
Thanks for asking, Dad. We could go to Venus and... No, wait. We should drag race on the moon. I forgot about Uranus. The funniest planet.
Nice callback to that one iconic joke from the Captain Underpants movie that never fails to make me laugh. Or at least that's what it reminds me of. The Greens also start singing about their next vacation plans, and they are also singing about how much fun they have had in space during this vacation. Then it transitions into the movie's end credits. The placing of this song, how it's like the closing song of the movie that concludes the movie, is really fitting as they make a connection back to the first song of the movie from when it all started, which is very satisfying to me. And also with the way the movie's happy ending was executed, especially with the emotional scenes and the more intense themes in the movie with its plot, really makes me feel like crying, because it's pretty wholesome to me that the Greens were able to get along in this vacation as they went to space, and they managed to make it out alive even though they were in danger, or they were managed to overcome it by tackling the mission that they had in this movie, and then they went back home in peace. There's nothing more that I could ask for in this movie that could make this moment stand out to me in a way that makes it really heartfelt to me, and it makes me feel something as a part of the audience of this movie. Like, it's very earth-shattering the way the movie was executed this way, like honestly. The way they managed to establish the movie's simple concept into the plot of the movie, and they turned it into an amazing movie with many intriguing scenes that would call out for anticipation with its audience, was very earth-shattering in a very outstanding way, because it's like nothing we've ever seen before in the Big City Greens franchise, and it absolutely soars every expectation that we get from the content of this show, which shows how amazing this movie is. Again, with the way it exceeded our expectations, which makes this movie all the more worth it overall. And that wraps up Big City Greens the movie, Space Station. Again, this movie was way better than I expected. For a TV movie that is based off Big City Greens, it is a masterpiece, despite it being a 9 out of 10 at best. Like, this movie has so much to offer, even for a TV movie. The movie's plot was simplistic, yet it had a very brilliant structure because of the way it was executed, with its many intriguing scenes that there were to build up higher stakes for the movie, as well as them balancing it up with funny moments in the movie that made it more entertaining to watch. The character development scene with Bill and Cricket was so wholesome. The character development scenes with Bill and Cricket were so wholesome, especially with that musical number that they had between each other as soon as the movie transitioned into its fourth act, when Cricket was singing about how he realized that it is his fault that they are in risk of dying, as well as the world ending. He starts to regret manipulating Bill into listening to Cricket's idea for them to do a space mission as their plan for their vacation, as well as all the stuff that he said to him that drove them two apart. And when Bill was thinking that he was being such a bad father to Cricket, even though all he was trying to do was to keep his family safe, or even at that, it drives the two of them apart, since Cricket is not content with Bill planning for them to do the same stuff that they did last vacation. This brings more depth into the dynamic between these two characters, as it adds emotional depth to these two as characters The idea that these two are a family and they are supposed to get along, and they both later understand what each of them want in order for them to actually get along, which is very wholesome, and it emotionally really impacts the audience of this movie, which enhances the experience of this movie, making it an even better movie for a TV show that has been keeping Disney Channel alive throughout this decade. I almost forgot to talk about the epilogue scene that plays during the end credits, where it continues from where they left off from after the events of the movie. And there's one thing that really stood out to me in that scene, where they actually conclude the movie in the format of a post-credit scene in theatrical films, where the narrator randomly pops out of nowhere in the Greens' neighborhood, whilst the Greens are having the time of their lives, stoking them as he's narrating their lives and breaking the fourth wall, telling the viewers that they should watch more of the episodes of the base show, as they are worth it for them to watch on their spare time, in which Cricket finds the guy and tells them that he has returned. Then all of the Greens advise him to fuck off from their neighborhood, which prompts him to shoo away, and then the movie ends. That shit was bars. This was actually a pretty funny way to end the movie. This scene literally made me laugh out loud when I was watching this movie. What an amazing movie this was. I would love to see another Big City Greens movie in the future. And that concludes this video. If you want to see my video essays, reviews, cartoon commentary videos, retrospectives of TV shows, rants, etc. that will be released in the future, go subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest uploads. It really helps out the channel. Remember, reality is depressing, the universe is purposeless. Bye, Bleach. Bye.